Well, you're right on time for Switch Focus. Good evening from where you're watching us from. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. We have a lot in line for you from across the world. And be sure to talk to us via social media platforms as Switch TV Kenya, Joel Chacha M on Twitter, as well on Facebook, Switch TV Kenya and Joel Chacha. Send in an SMS via 111 444 111. We begin our focus. Despite having a slow start at the 2020 World Olympic Games, Kenya has finished on a high after a stunning performance from Eliud Kipchoge, who bagged his second straight gold medal and cementing his place among the all-time great of the sport. Apollo James tells us more.
Following Eliud Kipchoge's win, Kenya moved up to position 19 globally in medal standings and also third in the track and field medal table after Italy and United States. The win has brought Kenya's tally to 4 gold medals from men's marathon final, Perez Jepchirchir women's marathon final, Faith Kipyegon women's 1500 meters final, and Korir Emmanuel men's 800 meters final. 4 silver medals from Helen Obiri women's 5000 meters final, Bridget Kosgei women's marathon final, Ferguson Rotich men's 800 meters final, and Timothy Cheruiyot men's 1500 meters final. 2 bronze medals from Kien Hyven women's 3000 meters steeplechase final and Kigen Benjamin men's 3000 meters steeplechase final, marking the most wins of any African team at the 2020 Games. The 2016 Games in Rio de Janeiro were the most successful in Kenya's Olympic history. The National Olympics team claimed all its medals in athletics, finishing with 6 gold, 6 silver and 1 bronze. Kenya's highest medal total at a single edition of the Games came at Beijing 2008, where athletes won 16 overall, 6 gold, 4 silver and 6 bronze. It is a competition that saw several of the major names dropping out amid heat, humid, windy conditions, and tropical systems have been the nemesis of the athletes during these Olympic Games. Apollo James, Switch Television.
The national anthem was belted twice Sunday at the closing ceremony of the Olympic Games in Tokyo, with Perez Jepchirchir and Eliud Kipchoge receiving their marathon gold medals. The fireworks lit up the sky above the Tokyo Olympic Stadium as the closing ceremony for the postponed 2020 Olympic Games came to an end. Take a look. Tokyo Olympic Games concluded with a closing ceremony on Sunday, with the next host city, Paris, having already begun its celebrations. 2 hours before Tokyo's closing ceremony, crowds had gathered at the Trocadero with their sports heroes, those French Olympic athletes who had returned from the Tokyo Games. Flora Lemuki reports.
When the Olympic flag was passed to Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo for the 2024 Games, French fighter jets flew past the Eiffel Tower to paint the colors of the national flag. Crowds watching the performance cheered and waved flags. Paris organizers have vowed a more open Games, which will put some competition near the city's landmarks, including the Eiffel Tower and the Palace of Versailles. The opening ceremony will also take place along the Seine River rather than a stadium. Next host city, Paris, has started preparations as Tokyo Olympics end. The newly amended Olympic motto, which reads "Faster, Higher, Stronger Together," will better guide Paris in the 3 years of preparation, a senior official said. Prior to the opening of the Tokyo Games, the Olympic motto was revised for the first time in over 120 years, with the inclusion of the word "together" to highlight the importance of solidarity. The new motto was unanimously approved at the 138th session of the International Olympic Committee on July 20th.
After 16 days of thrilling and touching sports moments, a special Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games was brought to a close on Sunday, displaying solidarity from the entire Olympic family against the COVID-19 pandemic. Smiles, tears, sweat and blood were left on the track as athletes strove for sporting excellence, while the togetherness showcased by Olympic members towards the pandemic will remain fresh and vivid for a long time. Residents in Japan share their views on the Olympics this time, with some people thinking it was a pity to delay the Olympic Games due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but they totally understood the decision.
There are pros and cons about these Olympics, but I personally think it's good it went ahead. It gave me the opportunity to watch more kinds of sports on TV, such as surfing and skateboarding, which I really watch. The Olympics are memorable. As a Japanese, I feel happy that we were able to hold the Olympic Games, even though it's a pity it was delayed by 1 year and spectators were banned.
Elsewhere, the Rwandan military says its forces and Mozambican troops have retaken a key port city from Islamist militants in the northern Mozambique. That is the Praia city, located in Cabo Delgado province, was the rebels' last stronghold and home to one of Africa's biggest gas fields. The insurgents have not yet commented, but the news is seen as a major gain for Mozambique in its fight against insurgents in the north. Rwanda last month sent 1,000 soldiers to Mozambique to fight the militants who launched an insurgency in 2017.
Militants who launched an insurgency in 2017. More than 3,000 people have been killed and 820,000 displaced during the conflict. The Mozambican armed forces, which have been struggling to regain control of the province, has been reluctant to seek foreign military help, but has now accepted that it cannot win the fight alone. Southern African Regional Bloc SADC is sending in hundreds of troops, and former colonial power Portugal is on the ground instructing soldiers. The forces last week claimed their first success since deploying, saying they had helped Mozambique army regain control of Awase, a small but also strategic settlement near Mocimboa da Praia.
Meanwhile, Tunisia kicked off national vaccination against COVID-19 as 335 centers across 24 provinces started to vaccinate citizens aged 40 and above. Vaccination Open Day was held to promote the drive. Vaccination sites across the country welcomed people on a walk-in basis. Caroline Suma reports.
The President's Office and the Health Ministry organized the event with support from civic organizations and volunteers. President Kais Saied called on Tunisians to flock to vaccination centers during the open day. The head of state noted that 6 million doses of novel coronavirus vaccines have been donated in 15 days, adding that 6 million more will be supplied in the next few weeks.
Vaccination operations are intense throughout the territory of the country. Do not hesitate, but rather go ahead with the vaccination.
President Kais also added that large quantities of vaccines and medical equipment are currently available throughout the country. The obstacles have been removed and normal life will resume its course in Tunisia after these open days of vaccination. According to the Health Department and the COVID-19 Task Force, 1.5 million dozens of COVID-19 vaccines were made available for the walk-in vaccinations.
And those who are not registered for vaccination can get their first jab in any vaccination center in order to make it easier for citizens. Medics, paramedics, public health officials, and civil society volunteers are facilitating this operation and making it as smooth as possible.
In the main vaccination center at El Menza Olympic Stadium in the capital city of Tunis, many civilian medics and paramedics as well as volunteers have been mobilized to administer more than 4,000 COVID-19 vaccinations in 12 hours. As tens of thousands of people turned up, several vaccination centers reached capacity shortly after opening.
It's very important to get vaccinated. It's an opportunity. It's much easier than waiting for an appointment. The turnout is exceptional as people flock to the vaccination centers very early in the morning. I'm happy and I hope that this open day will help in limiting the number of infections.
The goal of the health ministry is to vaccinate 50% of the country's population by the end of October. a new COVID-19 pandemic operation room headed by the Director General of Military Health is in charge of coordinating between government ministries. Caroline Tuma, Switch.
Well, with our story, now take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Switch Focus. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. Moving on, China's National Meteorological Center renewed its yellow alert for rainstorms in the southwestern parts of the country, calling for precautionary measures. Heavy rains are expected in parts of the country with up to 230 millimeters of rainfall in certain areas. Take a look.
The National Observatory has advised local authorities to remain alert for possible flooding, landslides and mudslides, and recommended halting outdoor activities in hazardous areas. Torrential rains hit many parts of Banzhou City of southwest China's Sichuan province from Saturday to Sunday. After the rainstorm, some towns along the river were flooded. Local authorities evacuated 2,178 people before the floods peaked. According to the Banzhou City Flood Control and Drought Relief Headquarters, the 24-hour rainfall at Banzhou's 31 sites exceeded 100 millimeters, and the rainfall at 2 sites reached more than 200 millimeters. The flood caused by the heavy rainfall has affected 67,094 people in Banzhou, and 2,178 people have been evacuated. The local authorities has lifted the yellow alert for rainstorms. In addition, heavy rains appeared in southwest China's Shanxi municipality, and as a result of the heavy rainfalls, floodwater began to appear on some low-lying roads and some vehicles were trapped in the water. Local personnel quickly organized to carry out emergency rescue and disaster relief work. China has a 4-tier color-coded weather warning system, with red representing the most severe warning, followed by orange, yellow, and blue. Apollo James, Switch TV.
Elsewhere, a Chinese teenager has set up a charity in Brazil to help homeless people during the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has left millions of Brazilians without jobs, and many families have also lost their homes. The Chinese teenager began the charity on May 16, 2020, and until now, they have delivered about 1,300 food baskets. China's State Grid has a company called State Grid Brazil holding in Rio de Janeiro, which is sponsoring the mayor the mayor of tomorrow in the community of Mayor, which has around 140,000 residents.
Because we thought that if everyone is together, it can actually make a big impact. So our slogan is actually Be One, Be the Change. And Be One is donating the cestas to the community via the help of the orchestra, who are having a list of all the people in need, so they can keep track of who they're delivering the cestas to and making sure that the deliveries are going to the most vulnerable families. As a Chinese, obviously there aren't a lot of people here, especially my age, helping with a community like this. But I thought it was really nice just to start this project to help Brazilians, because I think they're really nice. When I first came into the country, until the situation is normal, I will definitely really want to help until my time in Rio and until I graduate. Even if I graduate, I plan on keeping this project here with all of the little ones and all the little smaller friends I know from smaller year groups. I think it would be really nice if we can continue this project on, and I think I would really like to help with this project in the future as well.
Well, and now here in the country, shift our focus where on this political story where Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka is launching a presidential secretariat at the command center in Karen, Nairobi. And now let's cross over live and listen in.
Salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. Twakushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye unastahiki kushukuriwa, na sifa njema zote ni zako Mwenyezi Mungu muumba mbingu na ardhi, peke yako ndio tunaikuabudu na wewe peke yako ndio tunaikuomba msaada. Ya Allah, twakuomba utuongoze katika njia iliyonyoka, njia ya wale uliowapa baraka zako, njia ya wale uliowapa neema zako. Twakuomba ya Allah, usituongoze katika njia ya wale waliopotea, usituongoze katika njia ya wale uliowakasirikia. Ya Allah, twakuomba kwa jina lako la Assalam, jina la amani, twaiombea nchi yetu amani tunapoelekea katika uchaguzi mkuu mwaka ujao. Ya Allah, twakuomba ibariki Kenya, bariki viongozi wa Kenya, wape hikma na ujasiri kuweza kuipeleka Kenya vizuri. Ya Allah, twakuomba tufungulie kikao hiki kwa kheri, kikao muhimu, kikao chenye kutoa mwelekeo wa Kenya na kwenda kuweka mwangaza wa Kenya. Ya Allah, twakuomba mbariki party leader wetu Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, mpe hikma na busara zaidi, mjalie aungane na wenzake pamoja waende kuikomboa Kenya yetu. Ya Allah, twakuomba kila aliyekuja hapa mbariki, tuunganishe nyoyo zetu ziwe kitu kimoja, tuyavumilie yale mazito yaliyo dhidi yetu, tuvumiliane baina yetu sisi kwa sisi. Ya Allah, twakuomba utubariki, na umetubariki kwa kutunyeshea mvua pale uliposema fakultu astaghfiru rabbakum innahu kana ghafara yursilu samaa alaykum midrara wa yumdidukum bi amwalin wa banin wa yaj'al lakum jannatin wa yaj'al lakum anhara. Tumeona mwangaza tayari, umetunyeshea mvua ambao inatoa ishara njema katika kikao hiki cha leo. Ya Allah, bariki walioandamana na party leader wetu akiwa Bwana Musalia Mudavadi, mbariki na yeye, mpe hikma, mpe ujasiri aweze kuungana na mwenzake pamoja waende kuikomboa Kenya yetu. Ya Allah, tufungulie kikao hichi kwa kheri. Allahumma aftah lana bil khair wakhtim lana bil khair waj'alna min ahlul khair. Twakuomba Mwenyezi Mungu tukiamini umetukubalia maombi yetu. Amin, amin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Ikiwa tumesalia tu hivyo, na muomba Reverend Mwalwa tafadhali njoo.
Tuendelee katika maombi. Baba, tunakubaliana sisi zote ya kwamba wakati kama huu umetukusanyisha hapa kwa ajili ya mapenzi yako. Tunaliinua jina lako, Baba wa mbinguni, Baba, Mwana, Roho Mtakatifu. Tunaomba ya kwamba kama vile Sheikh alivyoomba kwako, vivyo hivyo uteremshe mkono wako na macho yako kutazama Kenya yetu. Tunatazamia ya kwamba wewe uliye muumba wa nchi hii, na kama vile tulivyoimba kwa wimbo wa taifa, ya kwamba nchi hii iwe tegemeo si kwetu peke yetu, mbali kwa majirani na mwisho wa ulimwengu huu. Tunaomba ya kwamba tunaposimama na kuketi hapa siku ya leo, ya kwamba utanyosha mkono wako kwa kiongozi Kalonzo Musyoka na wengineo kama Mudavadi aliye hapa mheshimiwa, na hata wote ambao umewachagua ili wawe viongozi kwa tabaka zilizo tofauti. Onyesha mkono wako juu yao kwa ulinzi unaofaa. Baba, tunaomba ya kwamba hekima inayotoka kwako, hekima ambayo inawaongoza watu wako, iwe ya kwanza kuongoza akili zao, kuongoza vinywa vyao na usemi wao. Tunaomba Baba ya kwamba wakati tunapoketi hapa tutajihisi uwepo wako, tutajihisi moto wako, tutajihisi uongozi wako, na zaidi ya yote Baba, tunaomba ya kwamba tutahisi ya kwamba unatuunganisha sisi sote pamoja ili tuweze kwenda mbele kuijenga nchi ambayo mwishowe itakuwa tegemeo kwa watu wetu wa Kenya hii na hata kwa majirani. Kaa pamoja nasi tunaomba katika jina la Yesu Kristo Bwana na Mwokozi wa maisha yetu.
Asante, tumpigie Mwenyezi Mungu makofi mazuri kwa uwepo wake. Naomba tuketi. Naomba tafadhali tuketi. Kwa wakati huu naomba nimkaribishe MC Mwaniki, njoo ili utupeleke katika hatua nyingine.
Asante sana. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Kelly for his good job. Thank you very much. I would like to invite, I'm feeling a little lonely here, Your Excellency, so I would like to invite someone to stand with me. Jackie Maribe, please come and stand next to me. You know, you make a handsome man more handsome when you've got a beautiful lady. Here we go, yes. And to be a gentleman, as I was taught by my father here.
Asante sana.
You're well.
Well, that was a
Now,
listen in from the command center
in
in Karen in Nairobi, where Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka is launching his presidential secretariat. Of course, this is regards in preparation for the 2022 general elections to be held in 9th of August 2022. Of course, Namukana Samuel is right there, and in a subsequent bulletin we'll be getting an update of what will have happened at that particular event. And that's all here on Switch Focus. My name is Joel Church, and our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. Our producer has been Saza Munga. Until next time, do have yourself a great evening.